Peace and love, peace and love. Assalam, Sufayan. We return to finish our part 3 and our discussion on the origin of Europe and America. Peace and love.
Actually shock you as well. Yes? Now, because in the modern day, Europe's modern now, so people don't bother to use horses anymore. Now, here is a picture of the Battle of Stalingrad. And what do you see in this picture, Andreas? This will make you actually start laughing. What do you see?
Camels in the Battle of Stalingrad. Okay.
Yes, camels were common in Northern Europe, Germany, Poland, Russia. They were using them in World War I and II. Hundreds of them, thousands.
Oh my God.
Can you believe this? And so now the thing is, so these camels that they were fighting, people with camels were fighting in the Crusades, were actually Russians and Germans. Now, another thing is, what they don't tell you is this. Now, this is the most scariest thing. Yes? What people don't tell you is that the Russians are using Arabic, the Germans are using Arabic, the Slavs are using Arabic. You can't even find any swords that even have any Greek, Latin, or Hebrew. Now, the strange thing is, during the Crusades, the Slavs called anybody, yes, if you're from Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia, before the Catholic Church got there, the people used to call each other and they used to ask and say, are you an Arabi? If you was an Arab, it meant you were a servant of God. It had nothing to do with the word race. And this is why eventually in Eastern Europe, especially...
Did you catch it? If you was a Araba or a Arab mispronunciated, you were a servant of God. This is who the people are. The people are servants of God, not workers for company owners, not employees at no job, not no career invested in nothing but the Creator. We have been duped. We have been fooled by the fool's gold. And now we are interpreting our own life through the treachery and misinformation that has caused us to misunderstand, which concludes to misidentification of self. Peace and love.
Especially the Ashkenazim Jews, they started using the word Arabi, means the word rabbi. The word meaning changed over time. I've sent you that from the Jewish Virtual Library, Israel Bible Center, and people can check it out. And anybody, you can check Slavic dictionaries. The word Arabi, Rabbi, simply meant a servant of God. And they used the language Arabi, yes, on their...
And what did they call Jesus when they said, Master, Master? Rabbi, Rabbi. Rabbi is short for rabbah. The rabbis, they say Arabs, or the people that rap. We have to understand these linguistical alterations to create new meanings out of mispronunciations and creating dialects upon false pronunciations in order to create a new breed of slaves that would now trade the place for the sorcerer, as your spirit, mind, and body trading the places for the sorcerer, and your spirit, mind, and body will be into the abyss for worshiping what you know not. So this is why we have to understand what is on the order of the day.
In Europe, the Slavs. So we got these problems. So the history is not what we think it is. Yes?
Wow.
Is this very shocking to you now?
It makes, the thing is, there's so many things that tie it together, right? Like
so in the Crusades,
Scotland,
when they were fighting the Arabs on camels, they were fighting the servants of God.
The name
Germans and Slavs.
The name Campbell in Scotland camel, and in Croatian you've got Bosnia-Herzegovina, you have Muslims, and so this actually, the weird thing is it just makes way more sense than the narrative does to explain why the world is the way it is today.
Because
So
of liars
it's
Yes.
and
amazing.
deceivers called
So all this information
man.
you've got, so that's why I'm sorry I didn't answer several questions because I didn't want to divert. So now
We'll
we've
get
got a
back to
problem.
that.
Yeah. So now we've got a serious problem. Yes, Arabic was not just that. Let me show you something else. What's even worse? Everybody knows this. Most professors know this. That you can check it out. The international language of communication. Let's say between France, Germany, England, Russia, India, Egypt, Greece. The international language for 1,000 years during the Middle Ages was not Latin. It was actually Arabic. I've sent you links. People can check this out. It's known this. That Arabic was the...
Not Latin, but Arabic was the international language even just 1,000 years ago. Latin is not the language of the Moors. Latin is the language of the dirty Africans. Moors are not Africans. Moors are Arabians. Arabas. In modern term, Europeans. From the birthplace of Abraham. Peace and love. We're going to get into this history that we're talking about, as you see in between one above the video and below. Suf Fa 67. That is the ancient name of where you get the word of the modern pronunciation, Europe. You see it there? Phonetically, Europe. Europe. So, Ubur. This is the ancient name. This is where you get the word Abraham. This is where you get the word Arabah. This is where you get the word Arabs. This is the ancient word for the continent of Europe. Now, let's press play. Wisdom and love.
international global language. Arabic was the language for the Jews for 1,000 years. Can you imagine this?
See, Arabic was the international language of communication in the
Arabic
Middle
was
Ages.
the currency of Europe for 1,000 years in gold and silver. We're not talking about the modern coins that we just make in machines. This is actual gold, and we're talking about millions of coins here. Arabic was on the swords of Europe. It's in the books. Yes, and the thing is, we can't find the people who spoke French, who spoke Italian. We can't even find the German language a few centuries ago. And we can't even find the Hebrew language. Now, the worst thing is, let's say, for example, there's going to be all these people who are going to say, we've got the Welsh language is closely related to the language of Brittany in France and of Catalonia and the Basque province, and it's got many Hebrew words and they sound similar. So I've just sent you that. This is common news that people speak about it. But
Right,
let me ask you a question.
Welsh to
Yes?
Hebrew.
How can the Welsh language, like for example, the word good morning is in the American language, it's in the English language, it's in the Australian language, yes? So when people are saying these words are in Hebrew, and Hebrew took the words from Arabic.
You see that? English language too is akin to Ibri, a language of the Persians, to hide knowledge. English is a Hebraic form of language to hide knowledge. English is akin to Hebrew. This is why we will never find these truths if we looking in that direction, which is those who went astray. Those are the teachings from those who was kicked out of the holy city. The holy city was in Ubur. Europe. This is what we have to understand. Europa is Arabic. Arabs. So this has been the understanding that has crossed the translations of slavery and in the writings when it said the Egyptians and the Hebrews was not the same people. So now we have a clear understanding of a history that has been lost. You will not even find this word unless you look deep hard as I did for 18 years. And it comes to this founding right here. We're going to get more into it. Let's press play on the video. Peace and love.
It means that these words are Arabic words. So now all these people who have found that the Welsh language is linked to Hebrew, or the German language is linked to Hebrew, or the English language,
I've unknowingly found that it's linked to Arabic.
it's actually Arabic because nobody spoke Arabic, Hebrew at all.
I'm finna show you how it's
throughout
Arabic.
the centuries.
I'm finna show you how Europe was Arabic.
And then we've got a problem. We can't find the people who were speaking French or German or Italian or Turkish or anything else. And then we've got a problem. Jesus Christ came here and they're trying to force it down your throat saying he spoke Hebrew. How the hell could he have spoken Hebrew when his people were speaking Arabic?
They tried to shove it down our minds so our throat or speak the words of Hebrew or another dialect of Hebrew, English. When Jesus spoke Arabic and the rest of his family and all of the prophets spoke Arabic, and Europe was an Arabic continent. Peace and love.
And then we've got the Star of David, all these coins during the Middle Ages in the Star of David, yeah, and they're all in Arabic. And they're going to say, oh, they came from the desert far away. And then they're telling us, oh, Spain, half of France and half of Italy were speaking Arabic during the Middle Ages. They'll say, oh, these men from the deserts of Arabia. Can you imagine them coming up today from the deserts of Arabia trying to invade Europe? Get real, on their camels? Or from the deserts of Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, sending hundreds of millions of coins in gold and silver? It just sounds ridiculous. Yes? And then 80...
Now we get the plot. Arabs are from Europe. They telling us Arabs are from the Middle East. There's no such thing as the Middle East. That is a concoction from the demons who told us the lies to begin with. That the mother of all land, the mother of Jerusalem is the mother. This is a lie by demons who are telling us such lies. This is why there was a war long lasting in the East. In the East, where the war was happening was in Europe. And now that we have the ancient name of Europe, we can learn a little bit more. So let's learn a little bit more. Ubur, that you say Europe. We've been taught to say Europe. I had to retrain this tongue from unlearning the dialect of Hebrew, which is the dialect of English, which is what we speaking as of now until we get to the Sufayan English, which now corrects our English back to the dialect of Arabic. And now we can have Arabic English known as Sufian English. And now we can speak the truth instead of speak Babel or speak Bible. Hey, shout out to all the scholars and going online. I think I seen it come across the screen. And yes, all we have to understand is the truth. And the truth is, we don't know all of it. And we have to find the truth, because the demons damn sure ain't gonna tell us. But the son of Adam will tell us. So let's go in. 4. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the first city known as Ubur. Europe. The first city known as Europe. 5. Europe, the birthplace of Abraham. Bingo, never told. And there we go. When it said that Abraham left the land of what? What's the beginning word? Europe. They were saying Abraham left the land of Europe. He never left the land of Europe. They are concocting a fabrication. The Europe was a big continent that it is called now, but they was calling it a city. Europe, Ubur, was the birthplace of Abraham, the founding of the people now known as Arabs. So the people known as Arabs are the founding place of Europe, not the Middle East. They misdirected us, and that's called belief magic. They throw out a belief in a text, and we believe the text to be of God, so we believe to accept the lie as from God, and God never wrote such a lie. God cannot lie, as we know. So now that the record is straight, the Abraham birthplace was Europe, anciently called Ubur. So now, when they say Abraham left the city of this is what we are talking about. They left the city of And so his descendants left the city of And this is where we are in what we call America. This is why we have to understand the Godhead and the Trinity. The Godhead being in physical Ubur or Arabia or Arab or Europe being the origin. Then we have the Trinity, which is North, Central, and South America. What we are falsely calling the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost is no other than the three Americas and the Creator. The Marabas, the dark-skinned Europeans, not Africans. Dark-skinned Africans and dark-skinned Europeans is two different DNAs. So one is from Yaqub, the other from Abraham. And Jacob or Yaqub was not the son of Abraham. So now when we're going forth, that's what the translators as demons are reclassifying, so you can worship names of spirits of the dead. So you can become dead yourself and take the place of the sorcerer. So this is ancient magic that we got to be weary of, because today and for our children is magic. TV magic. So now, Europe is the founding place of the people now known as Arabs. Let not the ignorance scribes speak of ancient time they know not. These Johnny come latelys don't know of this ancient time. That's why it's never heard. And even the scholarship we have heard, they have not said what is being read. See, they don't know the ancient name of Europe. And if they did, they'll have the final connection to the understanding of why the people have been flim-flam. Nor the king speak of ancient time he know not, of generations they cannot name in succession. Verily, if a man is unable to speak with confidence the generations of his ancestors, unsaw rules. We need to know that when we're talking about our ancestors, our phonetic Arabic translation would be Ansar Ru'ah. So let him not speak of such things. Let not the Johnny come lately and Uncle Pay Tummy tell you of things that he know not. Let him speak of such things. Let him not speak of such things. Listen, before the age of Sargon and Uruk, places like Iraq and Iran, before they was named that, there was Arabian leaders and kings in the name of God, by the name of Sargon and Uruk. Now, before the age, we talking about before Sargon and before Europe, before even the age of the four great rivers, the Christians, called the Pison, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Gihon. The Jahan, the Jihad, we get it? The lands of the south of Arabia were lush, green, and full of life. The lands of south of Europe were lush, green, and full of life. This is what they did not want us to know, that everything that we was around was nature. We was people of the forest, and we was master architectures and science who conquered the seasons. Now, while men had plenty to eat and drink, they did not respect life or any law of God. This was what was happening in Europe. Instead, like animals, they preyed upon one another until one day the great man known as Abraham was born in Europe, Arabia. Europe. Now, this great man named Ibrahim, Allah spoke to Abraham and told him, and listen very closely, because remember in the Bible it says God spoke to Abraham. So here it go. God spoke to Abraham and told him to build a great city called Ubur, called Europe. To build a great city called Europe on the Maraba River that did once travel in the south of Arabia, connecting the Great Lakes and into the Persian Sea. Now check that out. Abraham is the founder of Europe. So when we say Europe, we need to know our first father. Abraham is the founder of Europe. 17, with guidance from God, Abraham gave the people their first law. So in Europe was giving the people their first law. Check this out. No other place. This is the first city. This is the first this is the first people. And these are the first civilizers, because the land don't civilize itself. It's the people. The people who? Of Abraham, the great man. He gave the people, the Arab people, their first law. The Europeans, their first law. The Moorish, their first law. 18, but the people rebelled against Abraham and the law of God. How did they rebel? By sacrificing children and animals to pagan gods. There go the names of your spirits of the dead. This is how the names of the Creator get contorted into 70 names of the Goetia and the Shem HaFarash and all the so-and-so in the occult sciences that they have people learn that you're going to have to unlearn so you can understand the correct way, the proper way, the one way, the true way, the Illah Sufi Anna, to get to heaven. Oh yes, they know it's real. So check this out. So God instructed Abraham at the site of, in English pronunciation, Al-Bakar, to bring knowledge to the world and to use the sap of the frankincense plant as an acceptable offering instead of the smell of burnt flesh of sacrificed children. So we need to understand this was the law, and the people that rebelled was kicked out of the holy city. The holy city was the city of, in English pronunciation, Al-Bakar. In our Arabic pronunciation, Ilah-Bakar. And Ilah-Bakar was the ancient city of the blacks. This is where you get the word black from. Your ancient pronunciation of the word black is Bakar. Ilah Bakar. And this was the holy city, what we would say the capital of Europe. So we had the whole continent, and we created the center of that continent as the city of the blacks. So the black people of dark skin that is not African was born in Europe. And Europe is America. If you check the records right now, who own America, it would be the British, what they say the English crown, but that's not the same. The English crown is the Persian, but when we say British, we are talking about Abraham. The British is the Hebrew version. So we have to watch our dialect. Now, the most important thing is our dialect. If we are children of Abraham, and all children of Abraham are God's children, then we must understand the language and where we come from and our Ansarus, our ancestors, so we can honor our mother and father, so our days be longer upon the earth land that our Lord God gave us. So this is else what we need to know. Thus, Abraham is the father of all Europe and the East, father of all Arabia and the East. So any Arabic, this is why you have the stolen Hebrew legacy of Latin and Greek using the Abrahamic tradition of the Arabic people from the land of Europe to corrupt the wisdom of the people of Arabia. So now they worship false gods and serve lesser gods, demons, and spirits, instead of the one true creator, the living, divine creator, everlasting, eternal, vast, unseen, boundless, and we are the scene of his children. We have to know it's no such thing as the Middle East. The East they are talking about is Arabia, and the Arabia is Europe. And Europe is the modern name for an older name of Arabic, Arabia. Arabia is the Arabic translation of Europe. So we're going to play a little bit more in the video, then we're going to get more into our great man, our great first forefather, Abraham.
Percent of the coins that are found in large amounts are actually found in Europe. And they're telling us it's not European.
It's crazy.
I rest my case.
It's crazy.
I rest my case. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of evidence to sort of corroborate that. I was just going to say also.
It's in my new book, The Last Crusade, and it's in my other books, because The Last Crusade is actually a part of a series of books. It's in my book, Jesus Christ, and it's in the book, The Last Crusade. Yeah, I'll send you links to that. So the thing is, now we've got these serious problems, Andreas. But the thing is, can you imagine? I come to the United States and then I tell everybody, no, this was the United States of China. And then people say, hey, what about these dollars that are over here? I'll say, oh no, they were imported from Australia. And then you say, but there was hundreds and millions of them, the majority of them over here. I'll say, but still, they were imported. And then you say, they don't have no Chinese writing on, they've all got English writing on. I'll say, no, the people spoke Chinese in the United States of China. You'll know I'm lying. The evidence is there. And then imagine you say, we found all these guns. The American army went to Vietnam, they went to Iraq, it's got English writing on. I'll say, it was decoration. Oh, they borrowed the guns. They borrowed the guns. Yes, it was the United States of China. And then you say, what about these older presidents? Donald Trump, George Bush, JFK. Yeah, we've just found paintings and everything. He's got English writing on. I'll say, that's a mistake. And people did it for art reasons, blah, blah, blah. And he's supposed to be Chinese. What are you going to say to me? You're going to know I'm lying. Shall I show you what official historians say? Why there is Arabic on Old Testament characters before the church leaders came from Constantinople. Read this, what official historians say in the Wikipedia. They turn around and say that these painters and people, they wanted to express cultural universality. In the Middle Ages, at the time the people were doing crusades saying, hey, we've just found an Arab, kill him, convert right now or you're gonna die. And they're telling us, oh, these people did this for cultural universality or diversity. Can you believe this? Oh, if the coins are here, oh, the people didn't know. Let me show you what they said about in England that they found Arabic coins. You're gonna think it sounds like a joke.
There's a lot of Americans with Japanese tattoos. I wouldn't be surprised if some Italians liked Arabic. But no, this would be kind of weird if it's the only language, right? It's the only language they have in the painting.
Millions.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to find Japanese money in America. We are going to find Chinese money in America. But the majority, we're going to find the dollars. Yes. So now the thing is, have a look at this. Here is from England, a coin. It's got Arabic on it. And do you know what?
About King Opa.
Yeah. Do you know what the museums say and historians? You're going to find this so shocking. I think it says the same thing. What it says in every European country. Yeah, the same thing. What it says on the Russian coins. Look at Russia, the other side of Europe. It says La ilaha illallah Muhammad. No, La ilaha illallah. There is only one God. Now there is no God but Allah. Now the thing is, if you go to official historians, they'll say it's a mistake, and they made the mistakes because the Arabic is upside down compared to the Latin on the other side. They're telling us that ancient Rome and Latin was missing for 1,000 years until the 16th century. And then they're telling us that even in Italy, the people didn't even know how to speak Italian. And then the Italians were writing backwards, which is exactly the same like Arabic. Arabic is actually, realistically, it's Latin backwards. Most people, anybody who investigates it will actually find that. And they're telling us this and that, saying it's a mistake, the people didn't know, oh, it's just decoration. Oh, but these people, they hated Islam so much. They hated Arabic so much. They hated these people. Muslims are the terrorists, man. The killers. They were killing the people on pilgrims. We're not going to have anything to do with them. Oh, let's put it on paintings. Oh, this Arabic, let's put it on our swords. Oh, let's put there is no God but Allah on the coins. Let's put it on the emperors, princes on their crowns. Let's put it on the gowns and the clothes of the Germanic emperors, etc.
There's a lot of crescent moons and stars on symbols in Ireland, I'm finding as well. There's definitely some connections there.
Yes. So the thing is, many people have realized that World War I and II.
They just realized about the Ireland the Ireland connection with Arabic. If the whole European continent was called Arabia, now we will have all 7 continents beginning with the letter A, representing the Maraba servants of God Illah, mooring across the 7 continents, navigating the seas, civilizing the land, all in the name of God. And this has been stolen and hijacked from us as a historical inheritance. This is our naturally divine heritage. This is why you are dark skinned with a European name. Not because Europeans conquered you. It's because you are descendants of Abraham, who was his birthplace was Europe. And the ancient name or the pronunciation of Arabic in Europe is Arabia. So now we have the understanding clear cut without a pair of scissors.
And many of these other wars were actually created to actually destroy the evidence. Yes. And the Civil War, that was created to destroy the evidence in the United States. I rest my case. Yes.
My God.
I rest my case.
My
I'm sure
God,
you've got enough there.
We're gonna have to digest this. It's gonna take a minute to just go through this, and I can't even believe the data.
While they digest and go through, I'm built for 18 years of going through it. We finna go through it. Now we finna get the true history of Abraham. Not the biblical history where they talking about sacrificing children. As you see, Abraham was a great man and he brought the first law, and we're going to find out what that first law is. But first of all, that he banned and denied the sacrifice of children. And the people who went against Abraham, they kept sacrificing children. And so now they have a whole religion built on sacrificing and murdering to worship demons and their leaders. So here's the true history of Abraham. Suf Fa 68. O people, 1. There is no other deity but Illallah. This is what you was hearing on the corners, La ha illallah. That's what you was hearing on the recording of the video of the secondary scholarship. Now that we in the primary scholarship, our primary source, we have the original understanding with the words and its meaning. So now, second, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All glory and honor be to God and no other. 4, let the truth be now revealed concerning the great prophet. This is why he was a great man. The great prophet Abraham. Ibrahim. 5, may honor and peace be forever upon his name and his memory. As-salam, Ibrahim. 6, he, Abraham, is the first to honor the covenant of God. What's the honor in the covenant? To seize the practice of sacrifice of animals and children. Abraham is the bringer of divine law. This is where we have to understand divino, de jure divino. In Latin, they never wanted us to know this. That is the law of the divine, the de jure. So we have to understand who brought that forth. It wasn't Romans and it wasn't Africans. It was our first forefather, and we stand under that law since its precedence, since its promulgation of its ancient occurrence. And today is no different than yesterday, for yesterday became today, just like tomorrow will become today. So what our forefathers were as descendants can never be changed unless manpower can go beyond God. And the only thing we see he can do is mess up some text to confuse our understanding so we can misidentify ourselves. That's his only power, and that is only accepted through our consent of belief. To believe in his ideals is our only downfall. To believe in God's ideals is the thoughts of life. As we continue, Abraham is the bringer of divine law, and Abraham is the bringer of civilization to the lands. When we're talking about the 7 lands, the 7 continents of today. Truly, if one honors in yourself, if truth is in yourself, if self-honor honors the memory of Abraham and all his descendants before we came to this plane, then honor the covenant to not sacrifice animals and children. Honor the law, the divine law. Honor the divine law. Remember, true Christians swore to respect all faiths and to honor spirit and divine law. And Islam and Christian, Sufiyan and Christian, we have to understand was one and the same as Islam. And the Illah Sufi'ana of Islam. This is the way of Islam. So these are the tenets and the requirements from the descendants. And if you're not a descendant, then all you have to do is honor the memory of Abraham and the memory of all his descendants. Black skin, dark skin, who you call blackamoors, to denationalize them for their divine inheritance from their first forefather Abraham, who honored the divine law in the Illah Sufi'ana, which is the way of Islam. What else? Abraham rejected the wicked practice of sacrificing animals. He rejected the practice of sacrificing animals and children. As we're going to see, do not waste that which God has granted to you as food. Reject the corruption of divine law. Honor the Illah Sufi'ana of Islam. Now it makes sense. 12. The sacred smoke of the altar of English translation for blacks, Al-Bakar, was to replace the wicked ways of the ancients. Was to replace the wicked ways of the ancient. The frankincense was to replace the wicked ways of the ancients. Listen closely. 13. The sacred incense, frankincense, the sacred incense of the ancient lands of Arabia, of the Morabba people. That's the original name of the people of Europe. Marabah. So when the noble prophet, noble Drew Ali, told you you was Moorish, that was right. Right and exact. Now what you had to study was that he said that he revealed all of the Roman secrets in the open. So he didn't hide. He brought it into the open, what they was practicing behind closed doors. And so behind closed doors, they are practicing Islamism. Behind closed doors, they are telling you that they are American. What they didn't tell you was they're African. Africans and Americans are not the same people. Shout out to all Africans who want to live in the honor and the memory of Abraham and all his descendants by picking up the way of Allah Sufiana, properly known. Then you have to understand the Moorish people are the people of America and the people of Europe. This is how Europeans came to America. Europeans is the same way of saying Moors came to America and established divine law. Now, let's continue. Given by God unto Abraham was given, was to end the ways of sacrifice, talking about frankincense, and sacrifice of animals and children. God is pleased by the sacred smoke, as this respects his covenant with Abraham. This is why you need to understand frankincense. This is why frankincense was one of the gifts given, the only gift given to Jesus Christ by the descendants of Abraham. So now it should be coming clearer. Let's continue. 16. No greater injury can be done to Absalom than to kill an innocent animal or another living being in the name of God. Only the most ignorant and disrespectful to the creator of all things continue in the sacrifice of animals and children. Thus, 18, the Persians who hate God and who hate all of creation do still practice the sacrifice of animals and young children. And there go your Bible totals. The Persians, the Romans, the Bible totals from Babylon. They do for power and control. MK Ultra, mind control, and New World Order for power, knowing not the true origin of such practice of sacrificing. These people are crazy, maniacal, egomaniacal, and maledictive. Number 20, nor these people, these Africans, nor the true name or nature of the demons to which they worship. 21, do not therefore be tricked by the African upon the sacrifice of animals, and honor the name of Abraham in respecting the frankincense, the sacred smoke. The Illa Dukana. And this was all in America and Europe. So we're going to finish this out on the video, and then we're going to close it down. This has been a dynamic awakening. I will never be the same after this. Hopefully, in prayer and faith and in charity, through love, you will not neither.
That we're just a whirlwind.
Yeah, even, do you think it's easy for me? I have to live knowing all these things. Yeah, it's not easy for me. Now, I know that somebody is going to say,
You
hey,
gotta
this isn't enough. One painting,
share
two
it.
painting, one masterpiece. Okay, if they're lazy, go out there and check it yourself, Buster. Or the information's in my books, or if not
There
in
you
mine,
go.
in the books of
Check it for
Professor
yourself.
Anatoly Fomenko. He's even pointed these things out, and
Believe
many other
God.
researchers
Other
have.
than that, believe no
Please
one.
don't make a judgment halfway. Yes, study it all, and then you'll find the same history. It's like telling these
There you
bishops
go.
of France, etc. They mysteriously had Arabic on.
So hopefully they
The
see
Bible
this
was in
video,
Hebrew. Really? Yeah,
and they
but
can
we
come to an even
burnt all the
greater
Jewish Bibles.
wise
Yeah, we burnt them in
knowledge,
inquisitions for a few hundred years. But
which
Hebrew
leads
is
to
the
a
original
wise
language.
understanding.
Really? How many Jews spoke Hebrew? Nobody until the 20th century. Sorry. But we're telling you the Bibles were originally in Hebrew. But nobody spoke that language. Oh, Hebrew? Sorry, all the words are Arabic, actually. Shh, don't tell anybody. We've just changed the style of the handwriting, given it a new alphabet.
The
We've changed the
Sanskrit,
pronunciation.
Hebrew, Yiddish,
Added new
yeah,
words and
all the
totally created a new language.
alphabetical
Nobody's going to figure
scripts.
it out. Apart from people who study it, no one's going to know this. Who else lazy? People believed in the Gospels. They believed in the official history of the Twin Towers. They believed coronavirus. Yes. In the same way they believe the crucifixion now. Because they're believing the official story. But then we've got the Muslims on the other side of the world, and you open up their Quran. The Quran tells you all this and says, hey, go out there, you're going to find this evidence. Go out there, you'll know that they're telling lies. These people, they told lies. And they're doing this
These
because
demons,
they've got their plans
they
and their
tell
plots.
lies.
Because they want to dominate the world.
They want to
And if you
dominate for
look at it, you'll
power and
find that the New
control.
World Order, all the contracts were signed. Let me show you this before we go, because it's shocking.
They think that
around
you
the
would not
time that
even
these
discern the
official
truth,
Greek New
even if
Testaments
the truth is
came
given
out,
to you.
yeah, they made
They
all
said that
these
you are now
contracts.
too dumbed
Yes,
down
and they
and
made all
ignorant
these contracts
to
to
even
divide the world, to form
receive the
the
truth
New World
and
Order,
live
the
on
New
the truth.
Testament, blah, blah, blah. Yes. And the thing is, wherever the church went, yeah, the church had its slavery, blah, blah, blah. And many people don't know, after this Sultan Mehmet, what he did after he invaded Istanbul, there were big revolutions throughout Europe. Like 1683 invasion, yes, the Vatican was turning around and saying that people were dying from plagues, blah, blah, blah. But here it is, that people can check it out, that around the time when this Caesar Mohammed, yes, took over, they made plans for the New World Order. And the New World Order was done especially after the invasion of Istanbul.
And King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel's request for the New World Order. The
Uh-oh.
old world
We
order
spoke
gave
on
way
that
to a new
earlier.
world order. Okay, so this is the
Yeah,
old.
but when they say it gave way, let me show you another thing. You can actually find documents from 300-400 years ago of the Vatican and the ruling people that came to Western Europe. And some of them were in Western Europe already, that they ran away, that they made plans to divide the world between them. Yes, colonial empires. Wait, let me just find it. Yes, to make the New World Empire and how they made nation states. But all this information is in my books anyway. That they made these plans to divide the world between them. Let me see, where is it? Ah, yes, I found it. You can Wikipedia, just type in colonial empire, read through it. And they started making their agreements immediately after the fall of Constantinople. They say it was 1453. It took them another 25 years to settle down in Italy, to conquer Rome, get rid of the Etruscans, blah, blah, blah. Then they were making contracts. And they say this was competition with the Muslims. No, it wasn't competition. Yeah, it wasn't even Muslims, because when you look at some of these paintings of the invasion of Constantinople, the Knights Templar with their crosses, and other people, and Russians and Germans and Poles, yes, that they were in Caesar Mohammed's army, yes, and they were called Romans. Yeah, they weren't called Byzantine. So these people ran away to Rome, and then they pretended and said, "We're the original Romans. We are ancient Rome." Then they created the fake history of ancient Rome. That's another long story. Ancient Rome didn't exist. Half these buildings, they made them themselves and forged the coins. Hard to believe. So they made these contracts, and then they went around with the Bible, the Vatican and the French armies, the British armies. They went around with Christianity. Doesn't matter if they were Protestant, Catholic, whatever, Orthodox. This is what they did. They went out there and they took the New Testament to build the new world order or the new system. And the old and
New
when
Testament,
they did that,
you heard it.
mysteriously, Europe became 90% a land of serfs, peasants, and slaves. Yes, and they're telling us the beautiful history
Peasants.
of Christianity. Yes,
Poor
the
and
beautiful
poverty.
history of Christianity.
By this
Let me just show
war
you the beautiful
and this
history
African
of
line.
Christianity is this. That it's actually shocking. Yes, let me show you that in Europe, yes, that during the medieval and Renaissance times, everywhere where the church ruled, it doesn't matter if the church is Protestant or Catholic or whatever, 80 to 90% of the people were serfs or slaves. Simple.
Yeah.
Christian,
And they're telling us
black
this is the
codes.
beautiful culture
This
of
is why we
Christianity
were
and the
saying.
church. Look at what the church did. This is why people joined the Caesar called Sultan Muhammad. Yes, and after he did that, it was a revolution. And the church lost its capital. Constantinople was the greatest city of the world. It was Jerusalem, the city of Jesus Christ. So when they lost that city, they had to run to a small village. Rome only had, in the 15th century, yes, Rome's population was only about a village of 10,000 people. Yes, in the countryside, yeah. And they went there and they had to start again. Too damn, they were angry. They must have been so angry. Yes, that's why the Inquisitions happened,
Yeah.
blah, 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 everything. And they were burning all the books. They created these new languages, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Hebrew, blah, blah, blah. Yes,
Wow.
Fake
let's leave it at that,
and
Andreas,
false
and the rest is in my books.
languages.
So this is I think we're on the precipice of some major thing here because
To
we're getting
trick
to the
the
point where
people
we see how the collapse of
into
Tartaria and the revision
the
of history and
unconscious
whatever the
there.
cultures
Yes.
are created
Now,
from
Tartaria,
all happening now.
Yeah, Tartaria, the word tat just means father. Tartaria means fatherland. So some people call it Tartaria, some people call it Kingdom of God, the 1,000 years of the Middle Ages, or some people call it the Kingdom of Israel, King David, King Solomon. Yeah, they've got Maori coins.
It's all coming around the Crusades. It seems like the Crusades, and then this is also for next time.
The Crusades?
Yeah.
Everyone says it was the church fighting against
It's the
Muslims.
worldwide civil war. It sounds like if you have people
It was
rising.
the other way round. It's
Right.
the people who were fighting the people in power
Yeah.
because they had enough of the lies, the crucifixions,
Wow.
the fiction, a fictional story, forcing everybody to be a slave. Yeah, they made 80-90% of the people were peasants, dogs. Yeah, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you're a slave. And then mysteriously, after the Turks
Slaves,
invaded Europe, they took over. When
They
say
wanted
Turks,
to
it wasn't just
enslave
Turks. It was the people of Europe joined them. And that's why the invasions
us,
of
the
Vienna
original
happened and
people.
other things.
Who was they?
got rid
The
of these
Africans
people.
wanted
Then
to
when these people
slave
got rid of, they started,
the Arabians,
they've started a
the
new plan.
Sufian,
And now,
the
they've still
Sufian.
not taken control. They want control again like
So the
last
dirty
time.
Moors
You
are the
won't know.
Africans. The
And when
righteous
people were
Moors
going to
are the
Constantinople, they were
Sufian.
going from church to church. It was like Disneyland. They were paying for tickets to heaven. This is what the church was doing. You can, and it was actually church law. You cannot go to heaven without. Yes, this is the sort of garbage they made up. Whereas the Quran itself says that anybody who does good things is going to get their reward with God, and they've got nothing to fear when they die.
Yes,
Anyone
it
who does
does.
good things.
We're
Now, it
talking
does
about
say
the
in the Quran that if you
Sufian.
do bad things and
When
you
he say
reject the truth when
Quran.
you find it, yes, yeah, and you're going to follow lies, yeah, then obviously if you're a liar and a cheater and you're oppressing people.
Then God could turn you into a gorilla or a pig. I remember is one of the things that the Quran says.
Oh, yeah, yes, that story has been reversed. Don't forget, we're living in the modern world today. They're telling you, Andreas, that your great-granddaddy was a monkey and he turned into a man. Yeah, what type of a monkey
Fair.
was your granddad, Andreas?
See the
My
lies.
granddad wasn't a monkey. I don't believe these people.
Forged by these
historians and
Persians.
scientists.
Right.
If you believe them, then you have to ask yourself what type of a monkey your granddad was. And obviously, if you don't believe them, then your great-grandfather was a gentleman.
Yeah. or at least a bonobo. Okay, but next time we're gonna cover all this. We're talking about the Crusades.
Subjects. Yeah, that's right.
And we'll get into the Alawites. It's okay. I want to, because the Alawites seem interesting. We're talking about the Alawans and this idea of the more militant version of Islam that becomes Islam. Now we're getting into this idea of what happened to Islam. Why is there a violent strain? Why does the Alawite have the sword as their symbol?
Because
That's
of
what
the
we're
Persian.
to find out.
Well, the violent people in Islam, they're called jihadis. And this is why they made the drama or the comics and the movies called Star Wars, The Knights of Jedi. They were good people that became bad. Because that's why if you go and check all these guns in the Middle East of these Muslim crazy guys, they get their guns from America. They're financed by America and Russia. Everyone knows this. So they were originally good a few centuries ago. So the story of Star Wars is even based on the story. And Sith is Satan. These are long stories. Yeah? Let's leave it at that for today.
Dude,
is
it's
the
amazing.
African.
Thanks so much for being here.
The city of Satan is in Rome. The Romans are African.
Hey,
and they hate
everybody, tune in to Recent Targaryens.
the Sufayans. So the opposite of a Sufayan is a Satan. So we appreciate them providing the scholarship and what they have to offer. And at KOS, the La Sufyana Academy, we love becoming wiser. We don't hate on knowledge. This is a place where scholars and students may come to learn and learn greater wisdom. I've been going since 8 o'clock recording to upload for you to have and to share so all of us can have the truth and spread this awareness. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Make sure you press be notified so we can continue to get to the 52 subscribers at least, so we can go live and begin to interact with each other. But till then, peace and love. Peace and love. As-salaam Sufyan.